I think sometimes people are confused about the point of what I do here. And it isn't to convince anybody to do anything. You can always do whatever you want, but it's to bring you the information that I think is very important that most people miss out on. And there is something that's been happening that most people are not paying attention to. Anybody that's been on the fence about ADA or has been uncertain about where things are headed, you need to see this because this is going to be very, very eye-opening for you. We're going to talk about that as well as this big week that we had in terms of ADA once again. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. They're free to do. They'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So when we look at this year, yes, we're down in terms of price. Pretty much everything is apart from BTC, right? And the reason we've been struggling again is the news, the PTSD, the things that we've been talking about very consistently on the channel. And the reason I do what I do is I want to show people what's happening on a fundamental level. Fundamentals always precede price moves. Price is always the lagging metric. You guys have heard me say this for years, and this has not steered us wrong in the past. And when it comes to ADA, it's been a very consistent trend that we see these really important, good fundamentals before we start making these moves. Now, the great thing about the charts for ADA is we're continuing to show a lot of resilience, right? We've essentially created this triple bottom in terms of ADA. We keep bouncing off of support, which is a great sign. ADA looks more and more poppy as time progresses. Unfortunately, we've had some news that have kind of shaken things out here and there and shaken some holders out, and that's very unfortunate because what we've been seeing for a very long period of time is this, accumulation and removal of supply from exchanges, which we've talked about a ton, but that's not even the thing that's going to be very eye-opening. But I do want to mention something. Once again, we had another big week in terms of ADA, $51.24 million worth of ADA removed from exchanges just last week alone. And just to show you guys some context of this, things have changed in a big way since the early part of November. This is not the summer of 2024. Why I'm saying that is I want you to look at these weeks throughout the summer of 2024. They're pretty small. The exchange supply removal we were seeing at that time, on the big days was like about $15 million or so, but actually not even that, about $12 million or so. And we weren't seeing any huge changes. And we fast forward to now, that's about our small week. So people are hoarding supply at bigger rates than they have ever been. They're removing supply from exchanges at bigger rates they have ever been. Guys, we're at a more consistent trend here than we were in the bull market in 2021. And it's kind of funny because people are getting bearish and negative about where things are headed. Guys, there is so thin liquidity to the upside. It's going to blow your freaking mind when we start making some moves. So actually, Julia, Crypto Jules, posted this question. Serious question. Does ADA still have the fundamentals to make a move towards $3 in 2025? I said, yes, 100%. Because guys, when people are buying and hoarding and removing supply from exchanges, what is available when things get exciting? What is available when adoption starts taking place? There's not much to go around. And we've seen this several times before. Guys, remember, November, right? We went on a very massive run to the upside. We did a 300+% move in less than a month. All right. There is less supply available on exchanges now than there was back then. And I'll have to go back and do the math. I'll do that for another video. But just take a look. We did almost 100% move in a day. Some of that had to do with a little bit of a short squeeze, but there's still less and less and less as time moves on. And actually, there's a chart that is going to be very eye-opening for a lot of people. And I've continued to talk about how large holders are accumulating and building out their positions while retail's capitulating. That's the chart right there. A lot of people have said that I didn't know what I was talking about, that I was lying, and all these things. But when a big on-chain analytic firm posts the same data, it's kind of hard to argue with on-chain data, right? And what we've been seeing is from those that are holding 1 million ADA and above, this is 1 million to infinity coins. Look at the chart up and to the right. It sure doesn't look like capitulation. It sure doesn't look like large holders running away. In fact, they're just continuing to build and build and build and build and build their positions. Look what retail is doing. This is those holding 100,000 coins and below. They don't have 100,000 to a million coins on there. That group, from what I remember, has been pretty much flat. So that would have been nice to see on here. But what we've seen is retail capitulation, people selling and calling it quits in November and capitulating because they didn't realize what was taking place. Then they flattened out, right? But then it's just been capitulation. This is the shakeout I've been talking about. And all that's happened is you moved it from the hands of the impatient to the hands of the patient. This is what we see every single market cycle before we have a massive boom. before we have adoption take place. This is happening in terms of ADA, in terms of XRP, in terms of Shiba Inu, in terms of Bitcoin, in terms of almost every single asset in the space. Like I said in my video yesterday, this has been one of the biggest this is the biggest shakeout we've experienced in history. It's been big, it's long, it's sucked. I understand that it's worn a lot of people out, but if you can't see things through to the end, you're not going to make it in crypto. All right. And again, this isn't financial advice. You can do whatever you want, but it's very clear what is taking place right now. We're undergoing these massive shifts in the crypto market, or these massive shuffles in terms of holders, and it's all in preparation for some of the biggest moves we've seen. All right. So I really wanted to share that with you guys. I was excited that I stumbled across this morning. So you need to think more like the large holders. You need to think more long-term. You need to prepare for the big adoption that's coming to the crypto industry. I've had some people argue with me on adoption, and you know what? You can argue all you want. It doesn't change what's coming, right? My feelings, your feelings, they do not matter. It's an industry that is right now still in its infancy, but it is gaining traction day by day. And you better hope that you're there when all those people try to fit through a really small doorway. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.